I'm Barbara Harbinson, and I run an organisation in Halifax, West Yorkshire, Halifax Opportunities Trust. And we provide neighbourhood level services, but they're holistic services. We don't deal with one aspect of a person, and so it's around employment, helping people get employment, supporting businesses, so that supports economic activity. We deliver training and apprenticeships, provide ESOL, and we deliver 11 children's centre from 11 children's centres in the area. So it's supporting families and individuals, and it's helping them achieve the best they possibly can, often in really challenging circumstances in one of the most disadvantaged communities in West Yorkshire. Well, I think one of the important things is that we don't deal with individual issues. We try and take the whole person, the whole family, and support them. We've just won a substantial contract from the local authority, total value of traded services and the contract's about just over 10 million. And I think we're adding much more value to the parts of the contract that were previously run by the local authority, simply by bringing in all the other things we do and layering them on top of the existing service and weaving them through the existing service. So somebody coming into our children's centre isn't sent off somewhere else for something else to be done to them. They can access a whole range of additional things. Often those things are funded by money we've brought in from other sources. So we bring additional money into the borough, into Calderdale, which is where we work. Many contracts are going out to for-profit providers, and it says it in the name, and the first thing is take 20% off the top or more, and the rest is for delivery. We don't start from that premise. We do try and make a surplus, but if we do, that's redistributed through our other charitable activities. So we can deliver more. We can deliver more for the same money, but I think probably more importantly, we're able. The services we've taken over were previously under the control of the local authority, and we've already been able to save. We started delivering in July, on July the 1st, and we've already been able to save significant money. So things like we know exactly what it costs to change a light bulb, and it doesn't cost £20. We know that we can. We've not reduced people's salaries, so the local authority staff who've come to join us are on the same level of salary they were before. They're still getting their pensions, but what we have done is make efficiencies around service, the way we organise the services. So a good example, I think, for me was we had a nursery that had been running at 30% occupancy, and we've taken it over and we've already increased, just by marketing it really, we've already increased the levels of occupancy. And the sad thing is there aren't enough nursery places in our area, so it wasn't because there were a lack of clients, it's just because people weren't, perhaps the culture was such that they weren't motivated to go and get them. And then on the other side, our nursery daycare facilities, they were fully staffed in the summer, and of course the nurseries are not always full in the summer. So really simple things that you would look at in running any business that don't detract from the service, don't harm the staff, but deliver more and we think better. We were already delivering some children's centre contracts, and we were getting Ofsted good, and we've had outstanding in our daycare. So there's no question that the quality isn't there. And we're just, like any good business, looking for day on day, week on week efficiencies and improvement to deliver better services to people in a very needy community. It's a vital service, and we're very lucky to have that resource. We've recently, this is not about the children's centres, we've recently taken on a contract that is awarded by Job Centre Plus, and it's taking people who've had 2 years on the work programme and still haven't found employment, and giving them an opportunity, some would say it's not an opportunity, asking them, telling them that they should do some community volunteering. It's a really tricky thing for a charity that's community-based like ours to do, but our board said and agreed, even those who don't like the idea of these contracts, because if somebody doesn't come to volunteer, they can be sanctioned, which means their benefits are taken away. So it's a very political contract. But we decided to do it because we felt that if we didn't, somebody much worse would, and that we would handle that really sensitively. So we're about 3-4 months into that contract, and we already have so many people into work. So if I give you one example of a young lady who'd been on work programme with a national job centre framework provider for 2 years, she came to us without a CV. Within 3 days, we had her a job as a receptionist in a GP practice. That's one example. Another example is a young guy who I saw looking really pretty dismal, I have to say. His presentation wasn't very good. A week later, I saw him in a suit working with an IT provider. He happens to be some sort of geeky IT person, but he'd been with a work programme for 2 years and nobody had bothered to tell him he needed to smarten his appearance or bother to find out that he was actually an IT whiz. Those people are part of families, they're members of a community. Every time those people have a success or a failure, it reflects on their families and the wider community. More importantly for me, I guess, the individual achievement is great, but because of where we're based in a 76% South Asian community in Halifax. Those are both white people, and they come to an area that in the normal course of their life they would not have come to. It's a no-go area for them. But actually, they're really getting on. They've changed their opinions. My hope is that when they go and talk to their family, and there are conversations around ethnic minorities, around racism, they will say, actually, it's not so bad there, you know. Those people helped me get my job. And I think that's an example of one of the additional consequences or outcomes of local community-based work. That community cohesion, that sense of being part of a neighbourhood, and the integration. And I think that's something we can add uniquely because we have a knowledge of the community and because we know how to treat people properly and with respect. We contract with the local authority for our children's centres, but we've never been a grant-dependent organisation. So I think we have one small contract that's been cut, but it's not about us, it's about the people around us and what we're seeing. So we've set up a furniture workshop where we give people who are destitute, have nothing, have lost everything. We give them furniture. We've never thought of doing that in the last 12 years since I've been working in that community. We've never thought we'd have to do that. We are contributing bread to the food bank. So the staff in our organisation collect every week so that those people who come to collect their pasta and their packet sauces and the food they queue up for, so they can also have fresh bread loaves. Never seen that before. We see people with only the clothes they stand up in. And increasingly, we're seeing people, we have some industrial units and we have a food company. Increasingly, people are coming in at night and rummaging through the bins And I've never seen that in my 12 years of work there. I think there are some things to be really optimistic about. We've been involved in, we're doing the Our Place programme, which has started us thinking about, we think young children could potentially be very vulnerable, but we've never really done any work with the elderly. We know that those services for people who are older and vulnerable are being cut. We know those people are lonely, and we're starting to try and do something using our place to show that we can think of new ways, different ways of engaging. So I think out of all the cuts, there's some optimism for us that it might force us to look at, it might force us and other partners to look at things differently, to think the unthinkable, and to get people more involved in their own service delivery. It's an opportunity. It's difficult to make it happen because people currently delivering services, providing services, are understandably reluctant to change the way they behave or deliver. So I can see optimism around new ways of people working together. I also think that people are coming to us and volunteering, people are starting to do different things. Maybe there has been an over-dependence on the state, particularly in our community. People have tended to sit back and say, oh, well, the local authority will do it for us, or the government will do it for us. And that's very disempowering, that actually a lot of things people can help each other and help themselves. So the cuts are not pleasant, and they are worrying, particularly for the most vulnerable, but maybe we'll become a more resilient community as a result of them.